The Renaissance was truly an exciting time for the would-be Magus. Dozens of volumes of ancient esoteric lore had been recently recovered and translated primarily by Marsilio Ficino, in texts on demons, sacrifices, the Egyptian mysteries of Iamblichus, divination in dreams, and even the famed Hermetica were all coming to be accessible by a wider audience. But where did the Magus turn to find all this recently available pagan, occult, ancient wisdom? Well, perhaps to the most famous printer of the Renaissance, the House of Aldus, based in Venice. That press was well already supplying the engine that drove the Renaissance, the classics of ancient Greece and Rome, to Renaissance readers in some of the most beautiful volumes of that period, and frankly some of the beautiful volumes of all time. And this volume, published in November of 1516, gathers just some of those esoteric classics into one wonderful, amazing collection. A collection that I would argue is one of the most important publications in the history of Western esotericism. And here we find those texts that I just mentioned, along with important commentaries by Ficino himself, all beautifully printed here in this edition of 1516. In a sense, if you wanted to have just one collection of ancient wisdom on your shelf, and this is, for instance, an example of the Corpus Hermeticum with contemporary annotations, this would be that volume. And we know that every major Renaissance occultist, from Agrippa to John Dee, either owned or consulted this exact edition. Of course, publications like this fueled the fire of the occult Renaissance, and a smaller, pared-down edition would first appear in 1549. This smaller edition keeps all those occult essentials, the Egyptian mysteries of Iamblichus, along with the Hermetica, and a little bit, of course, on magic and demons and sacrifices, because it just wouldn't be a volume without those kinds of things. And this little text would go through multiple editions through the 17th century. Here again, we can flip to the Pymander, the Corpus Hermeticum. But without any doubt, these two volumes are among the most important publication in the history of the occult from the Renaissance and early modern period. And just holding them, leafing through them, running your hand down the type, connects us back to over 500 years ago, to the very birth of modern Western esotericism.